Hello, this is Jim Thomas from 3C Institute. After speaking with some folks from Heart yesterday about the games you'd like to build, I thought of some other different styles and options of games we've developed that may interest you. The first game is a set of very short stories dealing with adolescent trauma and stress, and they're linked together through this simple isometric map. I thought a variant of this might be a useful segue device to use in between the different scenes in the Sick Puppy game. As the detectives kind of make progress through that plot, they're actually changing location as well. So this might be a good way to kind of zoom in and out of that and give the student a little bit of extra spatial autonomy. I'm going to let the first scene run without commentary, and then I'll point a few things out.
You've got a huge pimple on your nose.
Okay, I changed my mind. I think I'll pause it here. I want to talk about the art style for these little stories because it's very bare bones. Generally, there's just a single background image with maybe 5 or 6 different foreground images, and usually those are the same character showing different expressions and poses. Also, in this case, each of those images is a stylized photograph, some of which we shot ourselves, others of which we get off of online stock image libraries. I just want to be clear that you can substitute any different kind of art style here. We could have sketches, paintings, other kinds of images that have been developed in other ways. It doesn't need to be photographs. You'd have more images per scene, depending on what's going on in the scene. It's just a question of how much budget do you want to put in art versus photographs versus dialogue, and the engine can support whatever level you want.
Oh no, I really don't want to go to school with a huge pimple. What should I do?
I don't know. It's a pretty bad one.
Everyone's going to be staring at me. I'm not the first person to ever get a pimple. It'll be fine.
You're right. It's not that big of a deal. Hey, do you want to come get something to eat with me and Elisa?
I don't have plans, but as usual, I don't have any money.
So you saw in the last scene too that another thing that this particular game does is have some power-ups to try to make it easier for you to make choices. So you can see these little tags we put on different dialogue bubbles.
I don't have any cash, but I'll come hang out.
I have enough money. You can pay me back.
That's nice of her, but I probably won't be able to pay her back. I'm really not hungry. I'm going to pass.
Whatever.
If you don't get at least a B on the final test, you're going to fail this class.
Another feature of this game is to let you broaden the choices that you have by having this kind of negative thought bubble that can be replaced with a set of more positive thoughts.
Who cares? It's not like anyone uses algebra in the real world.
That's a bad attitude to have.
I'm sorry. I'm just really frustrated right now. I guess I do need help.
I'd be happy to help you.
So each of those 3 scenes took about a minute to play through, and I'm going to send you the scripts for those scenes so that you can see that they actually have a lot more to them than you might think. A given playthrough only goes through one branch. It depends on how much they branch. In this case, for those 3 scenes, they had 74, 73, and 124 lines of dialogue each. So there's actually a lot more depth to them than is evident from just one playthrough, which is one of the sources of why a particular number of minutes of gameplay actually takes a lot more development than you might think. And now that we've maxed out on stress, the game's going to send us to a mini game to help us learn some deep breathing relaxation exercises. I'm relaxed already. Here's a new game. This is a conversation game. Starts where you pick which seat to be at this table, and then you'll notice as conversation changes, we swap in and out different images to show who the speaker is. I call
Where should
these
I sit?
baseball cards.
Now that we're all here, is everyone ready to start the meeting?
Yes.
I'm going to jump ahead.
Good, let's get started with this chapter.
I need more publications and will do what it takes to be first author on this chapter.
This would be a great opportunity for me, and I'm happy to help in any way that I can.
I'd like to work on this chapter as well, but I'm so busy that I don't know how much time I can commit to it. I would like to help when time allows.
I need the publication and want to take the lead on this chapter.
Great. There are several tasks that need to be accomplished in the process of writing this chapter, and we now need to figure out who will take charge of various aspects of this project. To begin, we need to conduct a review of the literature. Since you volunteered to take the lead on this project, what are your thoughts on the literature review?
I need more publications, so I think I should be first author. I can take the lead on the literature review and don't need much help.
Once the literature review is completed, I could draft the outline of the chapter.
I don't have a lot of writing experience, but I can help with the
Jumping
literature
to another
review.
game now with more of a one-on-one conversation, a lot of animation on the part of the speaker.
Sadly, parking is a nightmare while this renovation is going on. I'm afraid you'll be assigned to student parking for at least the first year.
I'd really prefer a faculty parking spot.
I suppose I can call in a favor. It won't be easy to find one, but I can try. Next, office space is also limited in the short term. I have you slated to share an office with 2 other postdocs.
Here also you see a different style of dialogue choice presentation. They fly in from the side and extend as the student chooses a particular kind, and they're kind of labeled with the key thing that's being taught in this course is negotiation style options. And so it's trying to underscore one of the pieces that's being taught. At the same time, it's kind of helping the student steer in one direction or other depending on which negotiation strategy is relevant for this time. So I'm not sure that's going to map, but you can imagine doing similar things.
I hope their schedules don't overlap with mine.
I'm sure the 3 of you can work something out. And finally, we have a grad student available for your research group. You'll share his time with 3 other postdocs.
I won't be able to do an excellent job on my research without more help.
I'm sorry, but I'm out of favors, and you're going to have to make do. Resources are tight for everyone.
The final example in this video is Stories in Motion. This is a game we developed for children with autism, and just want to show a very different visual style, trying to minimize stimulation for children with autism. That's a big issue. Showing here the avatar selection, and then the child will get into building their own story, which is both can be rendered either as a video or as a comic book. Interesting tidbit, we added the comic book just as an afterthought, and it ended up being the thing that the kids liked the best. They used that as a way to carry a piece of the game around with them throughout their day, which might be something you'd want to consider too.
It's time for lunch. Lunchtime is a time where lots of kids meet and talk. At my school, we can choose where to sit. I can choose to sit at a table with students I know I can choose to sit at a table with students I sort of know and want to know better. I can choose to sit at a table with students I don't know. I can choose to sit at a table with students I know very well. Watching gives me information about what the students are doing. At the table, the students might be talking to each other. I will move close to the table and see how the kids react.
The way people move their face is called an expression. Expressions help let other people know how they are feeling.
They might look at me with their eyes and smile with their mouths. They might notice me, but make no expression on their faces. I will ask them in a friendly voice, "Can I sit here?"
And finally, I've got a list of game demo links that I think are going to work when you're outside 3C. These aren't ones that we usually share externally, but I'm pretty sure they're going to work for you. So the first game is one I showed yesterday, Stand Up. That's the game for teens recovering from drug abuse, and again has a painted art style. Second game is SS Grin. This is a 6 to 8 hour long fully animated game that teaches a broad variety of social skills to 3rd through 5th graders. Very narrative, nice story and music and all that kind of stuff. And finally, but there are aspects of that I think you haven't seen me present so far that we could bring to bear on your series of stories. And finally, Hall of Heroes. This is a game for middle schoolers that also has kind of a different art style, but hopefully you'll find interesting as well. Although actually the link for Hall of Heroes is actually a link to our commercialization arm, the Centervention site, and it's showing how we present Hall of Heroes to educators, so you get a little sense of how we spin things. This is also a long interactive game, but you can see on the marketing site we just kind of excerpt and show the highlights. So congratulations for making it to the end of the video. Really appreciate your time, and I hope this helps keep the conversation rolling.